All right, son. R12 podcast, take 3. Episode 3.
Episode 3 of the R12.
I'm going to tell you what, before we get going.
Or the R12 pod, episode 3.
Things are going to need to change. This dynamic ain't working. You need to pick up the slack.
Pick up what slack?
Anything, Jeremy.
A new table, please.
Yeah.
New,
I'm about sick
new
and tired.
setup.
I'm about sick and tired of you two ganging up on me, and that's the truth. And
I
that's
got
been my
so much anger right now.
Anger, man. What you got anger for?
I'm just angry.
and that's been my life.
Oh man.
Jacob,
No, I don't want to hear it.
Jacob, did anything in the past week since we met last, did anything make you angry or trigger you or bother you at all since last week? And I want to know what it was and for how long you were angry at it for.
Something happened to work, but I can't remember what it was.
Or Kirk, either one of y'all.
Oh. We are on this work call, and I'm going to try to keep this as,
Anonymous?
anonymous as
Yeah.
possible.
No names, bro.
We're on a work call with person whose name shall not be named.
Talking about Voldemort?
No. And anyway, we had this dashboard up, and this person is trying to type, and I'm like, we're communicating as a group, and telling this person what to type, and for whatever reason, I don't know if she can't hear, she can't type. I was my patience was running thin.
Patience.
What did Bob used to say?
Well,
to
I
us?
was kind of stressed out because I had another presentation to do later that day, but I'm type this. Literally, I was type this, and it's literally pulling teeth watching her try to type this. And by the end of it, I was literally just typing it, putting in the chat, and just copy paste this, just copy paste this.
Did you say anything to her?
No. I said something to my man Nick though.
Bro, we were at Hobby Lobby yesterday. All right, here we got to talk about this too. Is when is the correct time to decorate your house for Christmas?
Oh.
After Thanksgiving, that's a no-brainer.
Because, well, the reason we'll ask that question later. But we were at Hobby Lobby. You know what? One of the things that makes me the most mad is when you're at a grocery store, a Walmart, any store with a grocery cart, shopping cart, whatever you want to call it, buggy, and people just park them up on the side, the middle of the medians in the parking lot. Oh, that gets me going.
Leave them.
Just leave them.
Leave them. Yeah.
I'm watching people do it. So we got a Christmas tree. Take it out to the car. Put it in the car. I'm like, Caroline, I'm going to take it back in Hobby Lobby because they don't have any of those little returns. You have to take it all the way back in. As I'm going back in, I see 2 people in action
Leaving them.
You know,
Was it
I
raining?
Parking them up on that curb so
You
they
know
don't
what I
blow,
did? Huh?
roll
Was
away.
it raining or anything?
It wasn't raining or anything. And, I mean, there might be cases where that's okay to do that if you're, not able to walk or something. But I'm walking back in. I went and got both of their carts and pushed 3 cars back into the Hobby Lobby.
Hey, no, talking about returning carts, the best thing is to return the ones where you sit down and they're automated. Have you ever done that? Bro.
Is that Food Lion?
Yeah, they'll leave them at the car, at the handicap spot.
Oh,
And
so
you
you
can
gotta
just jump on
drive it
that
back
sucker
in?
and
Just
take it
ride
back
it
in.
in.
You're doing a good deed.
Hey, have you ever been to Lidl? The grocery store
I thought it was
Lidl?
Lidl.
I've heard of
Or
it.
not Lidl. What's the Aldi?
Aldi.
You've been to Aldi? You got to pay for your cart.
Yeah. You drop
put
a
in a
quarter in.
quarter.
25 cents.
Don't you get it back?
But you take it back and you get your quarter back.
Yeah.
That's how they solve that problem. Yeah.
Come on,
That's pretty
Walmart.
smart.
What are
If
you
you're
doing?
somebody that doesn't return shopping carts, I love you. But return the cart, please.
Put it back.
Please
man.
return the cart. That brings me to the next point. We've already decorated the house for Christmas.
You
I
and
think-
Caroline have?
If
We-
it makes you feel happy, if it brings you joy to do it whenever you want.
All
Like
right.
if it's not your
Our
house,
house
then
is
why should you
decorated
care?
with diapers. Yeah. Bro, you go in the living room, it's stacked to the ceiling with diapers.
Jacob, if you lived alone,
You'll need those.
if you lived alone,
Yeah.
would you decorate your house at all for Christmas?
Never.
A Christmas tree?
No. I wouldn't decorate for anything. No shot.
Hey, he'd have a weight. He would have
That is a
weights
waste of
stacked
time,
up.
energy, and carbohydrates.
You
Not
would
worth
decorate
it.
some.
I would not.
All right,
Oh, man.
this is our 3rd episode. I want to tell you guys one thing that happened to me this week that was pretty cool. And I've already told you, or maybe I said it in the group, but I want to talk about it. Was one of my buddies from college. I'm super tight with him, super close with him still. He sent me this paragraph of a verse in Romans 12, and I'm not going to read the message or anything like that, but he was talking about how everybody can read everybody can read verses of the Bible and get something different from it each time. But what is that Pastor Josh says is about what does he say? Like the application is
There's like different applications, but like
the interpretation should be the same.
Yeah.
The
But the
interpretation-
application is going to be unique depending on your situation.
so
and person.
interpretation's the same, application is different. And man, he sent me this message. It was late one night, and dude, I was reading it. I was like, that's what it's all about, man.
Yeah, I was talking
like-
about rejoicing
Yeah,
Mhm.
like I'm
with
so,
other people.
I'm so happy. Like when he texted me that, I was like, dude, you are spot on, and I'm so glad he sent it to me because that just makes everything worth it to me.
Yeah.
It's just having a
That's-
conversation about it.
That's what's so cool from our perspective. Just seeing even just like a handful of people that like, hey, you know what? Somebody watched it. Somebody talked about it. Somebody maybe read their Bible an extra 5 minutes one day
Yeah,
or
pointed
something.
them to
You know?
the word. Yeah.
Yeah.
And I was on that podcast earlier with Heather, Life Coach BFF. If you guys need to look up Life Coach BFF. This lady is awesome. She's hysterical. But she was telling me that when she started, like, and she's kind of the one that like got us to do it. Didn't
Mhm.
get us to do it, but like was telling us about doing it.
Told you should do it.
Yeah. And she said if there's like it's worth it, this podcast worth it is if you encourage one person.
Right.
And so for me, man, like him texting me that, like it was huge. It
Yeah.
was just and there's been multiple people text. I don't know about you guys, but I've had a couple
Mm-hmm.
people text just encouragement for us doing it and then just what it's meant for them. So
That's right.
it's been really good.
All right. So before we hop into the topic today, Germs, give us an update, man. How's the training coming? I got to know. Let's go.
Your train is
No, 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 no.
Hey,
no.
also, why are you wearing a long
Hey.
sleeve shirt, man?
Oh, come on. I'm wearing a jacket. Get back to
Yeah.
the question, man.
Yeah, you wearing
we
a
want to
black
know how the
shirt?
training's
He
going.
should have been raising
Professional
that shirt
athlete
up.
I
over
was
here.
talking to Caroline, and she's not happy with you. Your entire wardrobe, black T-shirts.
You
You need
to spice
it up.
Yeah, y'all notice if this man
I
ever
don't
wears
wanna
anything
spice
other
it
than
up.
black.
You know who you copied? You copied Mass Dog.
Oh,
That's where that
That's a
started.
good person to copy. The training's going good. I've had like my buddy, my trainer, the guy I've been talking to since I got hurt has been writing me out a program, and I also have a nutritionist lady that's been writing me out my nutrition that I need to be, just like the calories, protein, carbs, all that stuff. It's been good.
Tracking the macros.
Trying to. I don't know all that stuff.
got the app, but he's not weighing his food.
Hey,
right, Jay Walker?
you gotta
How
weigh it,
how
man.
can you
You
know what
gotta
you're
get
eating
the
if you ain't
scale.
weighing it, bro?
Do you weigh yours? Do you have a scale?
If I'm tracking it,
Yeah.
I would.
Do you track?
I do have a scale.
Do you track
No,
yours?
I don't.
Here's the thing. Jacob is huge. Kirkland is ripped up.
Yeah,
Like Kirk is
I mean,
like
KB got his pull-ups in.
that's right.
KB is ripped, and J-Walt is just huge, and I'm just here.
Just a
Just-
professional
Going,
athlete.
Yeah,
going on, going
Yeah.
on that, Jacob. I want you
Oh dear.
to run me through a typical day for you, eating wise, on a day that you work out. I want you to run me through that.
Well, I
day.
eat the same thing if I work out or don't work out. So that answers
Nah,
that.
you don't do pre-workout. You don't do
Yeah, that ain't food though. But
Fluid
okay.
intake. We need your fluid intake too.
anything. Take me and
We'll go.
make it kind of brief. Don't be that long. But
Okay.
from
I'll keep it under
morning,
an hour.
morning until
Okay.
night, and then tell me how long you've been doing this.
Include the
this-
pancake.
So I wake up. I roll out of bed. I walk into the kitchen.
What time do you wake up?
It depends what time I have to leave the house or if I'm working from home.
If you have to work from home at starting at 8, what time do you wake up?
7:55.
There it is. All right.
You turn the stovetop to 5 temperature. You put the pan on. Olive oil in the pan. Okay.
Too much.
Just tell me
Grits,
what you consume,
one
bro.
cup of grits with 2 eggs and a cup of egg whites. A cup of egg whites is about 4 or 5 eggs worth of egg whites. And then 2 glasses of orange juice. And then I got that multivitamin you got me. And that's basically the morning.
Okay.
And then at 10:30, I eat a banana with a protein bar. Sometimes I have a banana with my cup of coffee. Sometimes I mix in a protein bar, or I have the protein bar in the afternoon. But protein bar, and then lunch is usually around 12:30 or 1.
Give me an example. Give me an
It's either
example.
leftovers. If I don't have leftovers, it's pretty much always the same thing. The microwavable bag of rice. It's like a cup and a half of rice, and then 4 or 5 ounces of chicken breast with teriyaki sauce.
Okay.
It's kind of nasty at this point because I've been doing it for so many times, but it's easy. So
Okay.
that's what I do. And then usually
Mid-afternoon snack.
protein smoothie at 3 o'clock with the protein bar, or if I had the protein bar in the morning, that's then. But the smoothie, strawberries, blueberries, spinach, scoop of protein powder, mix all that together. Sometimes I mix in a granola bar with it if I, am feeling hungry. And then when I work out, it's usually some fruit, so oranges, applesauce, maybe another granola bar, depending where my energy's at. And then dinner, and then nighttime snack, protein pancake, 2 glasses of milk.
How long have you been eating like that?
At least a year and a half. I've had the
Since you moved
grits.
into this house,
I've
at
had the
least.
grits almost every day for probably almost at
Dude,
least
you know
18
what I've
months.
started to realize, and I want to know what you eat on a daily basis too, because you guys' schedule is a lot different.
Oh yeah.
This is what I've been starting to realize is I'm pretty skinny. I still try and gain weight, but my whole life, dude, I blamed me not being able to gain weight on my metabolism. And at some point, I was just like looking in the mirror, and I said like, nobody cares, dude.
Yeah.
Just eat more.
I
It
was
comes
the
to a
same way.
point where it's like,
It's an
stop
easy
making.
excuse.
I needed to stop making
Yeah.
excuses for myself and just do it.
Yeah.
And I'm still struggling with that because I still don't eat enough.
Yeah.
All right,
And I
Nike.
think it's vice versa. I think some people need to eat more, some people like whatever it is. But
Well, also your activity is different, especially in season. I mean,
Well,
you're,
yeah,
you're at the
but-
field all day, just like active, burning calories. Like, I mean, my job is sedentary. Like
Yeah.
outside of working out, I'm pretty much burning no calories.
I say that because I was just, and I still do. I just make excuses for myself. But give me your
Our basic metabolic rate is.
daily with KJ2 daily wake up time, eating. What do you do?
Oh,
It's
wake up
almost
time.
almost the exact same every single day. So Sydney handles baby 100%. I don't
In the
touch that
morning?
at all.
Hey.
Or and throughout the night. But I just wake up. I don't know 6:45, 6 o'clock, 6:45, somewhere in that range. Last few days, I get up. KJ in the morning changes diaper. That's massive every morning. And then after that,
He's eating good.
Huge, man. We got these little absorber things in there because he was peeing through every single diaper every
Double
single
liner.
night. He'd wake up just in a big puddle of pee, like just sitting there. So, anyways, to do that, and then I'll wake up. I always drink this little. I have this 4C powder packet I put in my water. It's just got vitamin B12 and some caffeine in it. It's basically my coffee. Take
'em
my
going.
2 vitamins each morning. I have Ritual Vitamins. Shout out. If they ever want to sponsor us, that'd be great.
Oh,
take
that
a
is
sponsor.
what's called Ritual.
Yeah,
Nice.
get free vitamins. That'd be nice. Do that, and then basically just get ready for work. Leave for work around 7:30 each day. I'll usually have like oatmeal on the way to work. That's it.
You put
Real-
anything in it?
No, it's just cinnamon. It's like Quakers.
Oh, yeah.
Could be
It's
causing cancer. I don't know.
It's
But-
good.
I use so much microwave stuff.
Yeah.
It's good.
Like
though.
if the microwave's bad for you,
Yeah.
I'm dead.
it tastes good.
Same. Something about the oatmeal, like the Quaker oatmeal's bad. But anyways, then lunch, I'll have tuna and some wheat thins, and then I'll have a protein bar, and then I'll have like a small 1 serving of almonds, and then I may have like a sweet or something too, because I've got a huge sweet.
Same.
Almonds are good.
Same.
That's what
Have
you
some.
need. You need to get some healthy fats. That's easy calories.
Like
Yeah.
avocado.
Yeah.
Tons of calories. But then at the
Calorie
end of the
dense.
day, dinner. Me and Sydney always have a simple dinner. It's usually like chicken and a vegetable. Like last night we had these veggie corn dogs. Super good. Huge serving of sweet potato fries and broccoli.
Oh, I like that.
I love
Yeah.
sweet potatoes.
Yeah.
Dude,
So,
one thing I've been noticing. And what time do you normally go to bed?
oh, I'll work out between when I get home. Like, man, I get home, work out, eat dinner.
And you're pretty much there.
It's time for bedtime.
Yeah.
Yeah.
One thing
It's
I've been
nuts.
noticing over the past like 2 weeks as I've been starting to work out more is like, dude, the days I work out, I'm so much more hungry than the days I don't. And so I've been making it now where like even the days I don't work out, I still go to the gym to do like cardio or like core. I just get moving. That way I am still hungry. Because for like
really
the first
fuel
week,
your appetite.
for the first week I wasn't even hungry, dude.
Well, burning calories. I mean, being active, your body needs more fuel because
Yeah.
you're probably burning 500 to 1,000 calories or something
Yeah.
when you work out.
What else happened? What else happened for y'all this week?
Had a pretty huge turnout at youth
Yeah.
Yeah.
with the baby shower.
Yeah, that
Oh
was.
yeah, Jay Walt had his baby.
that was
Jay Walt
fun-
and Bree
that
had
was
their
fun,
baby
man.
shower. That was nice.
We got Friendsgiving this Sunday. That's gonna be a blast. I'm
This
excited
Sunday?
for that. What?
This Sunday?
Yeah.
Yeah, dude.
You and Caroline are
next
bringing
week is-
pumpkin pie and something else.
Next week's
I
Thanksgiving.
can't remember. Me and Breezer got to make a sweet potato casserole. Breezer's got to make it. I can't cook.
Nah, other than that, it's been a pretty pretty
Solid
simple
week.
week, man.
So what's our
The topic
we're gonna
of tonight.
we're gonna try and have a topic
Yeah.
every episode. And some of them will be broader, some of them will be more zoned in, I think, but I think every topic we do is going to apply to our lives. and what we see. That's
Yeah.
why we did social media, because it affects every one of us,
Yeah.
and we just see what it's doing to the world. But yeah, go
Yeah,
ahead.
yeah. So tonight we're talking about anger, right? And
Yeah.
just like all aspects of it. You
Yeah.
know, why we get angry, things that make us angry. Should we get angry?
Yeah.
What can anger lead to? How can we control anger? Is anger inherently a bad thing? Does it lead to bad things?
Yeah.
So just getting into it. You guys know I run pretty hot personally. Like,
You say you run pretty hot,
yeah, like pretty emotional,
Run hot.
pretty high strung. You know,
which is a
So,
good thing.
I mean,
it's not
yeah.
a bad,
So like it's
make it
good and
clear, it's
bad,
not a
right?
bad
I mean.
thing. Passion and anger are different.
Yeah, yeah, but like I'm a pretty passionate person. Like it's pretty obvious, like if I'm mad or upset about something, you know. But with that, I think anger is one thing I definitely struggle with in controlling my anger, and especially like quick temper stuff.
I think it's for you. It's funny you say that, because for you, it's definitely quick temper stuff.
Yeah.
For me,
Like I mean, you can see here, like when I'm
Small
setting this
little
stuff
fits.
up,
yeah.
like bro, if something goes wrong and I can't figure it out, like immediately, like it starts to bother me,
Yeah, you
and
do
like I
start-
start getting hot, and
start
like we
banging-
open these doors because
Start
I'm like
banging your head on
sweating.
the table right here.
Yeah, and
Then you
you're
start
back
yelling-
here
you
making
start-
fun of me.
You start yelling at me, and then Kirkland starts yelling at me, and then Kirkland will start saying the same thing as I am, and then you yell at me again.
That's debatable.
But it's funny how you say that, because you said yours, and Kirk, I want to know about you too, but like you said yours is like quick bursts of anger, right? Like something will happen and you get mad and it's hard. For
Yeah.
me, man, like that, I do struggle with that, but for me, I struggle more with just like being mad at something for a long time.
Yeah.
And like
Mhm.
harboring that, or like not necessarily at a person, but just like at a situation. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
For me, it's like I just let it soak. Like I don't do anything about it. So like
Yeah.
I'm the person that kind of just shuts down.
Yeah.
Right. Or I like whoever I'm mad at, I'll avoid them.
Yeah.
Right. Or whoever I've got an issue with, like I don't want to talk to them. I don't want to tell them what the problem is.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And I think each one of us, like, there's different types of anger, right? And like, I think that we all struggle with a certain type. Like, if you say you never get mad, it's just like
Yeah.
you never get angry. It's just false.
Wrong.
Like everybody does.
Yeah.
So I think we just want to dive into like what it is, why we get like that, what our reactions are. So
Yeah, I think anger is super applicable, like in our society today.
Yeah.
Like,
Everybody's mad.
yeah, I mean, and it's like I feel like our country and like the world is so divided on so many issues, right? And I mean, it depends like what your take is on like the government and like media platforms, but like I think a lot of that division is like fueled by government groups and like news media like wanting to create this divisiveness and like people like feeding into that. And it's like we're almost like raised and pushed to like think anybody that opposes my thoughts, I should be angry with them. They're dumb. Like my way's right. And like this division we have like as a country, I think is like, I don't know. And maybe just because like we're getting older and we start to understand it more than we were younger, but like I feel like there's like so much just hatred and division between people. Hey, Ruger, come here.
Well, and I think like it's the truth, right? Is like I feel like sometimes media and like all the stuff that you see, you rarely on the news, man. I don't watch the news, but I feel like you rarely see good stuff on the news. It's always like bad stuff, people getting mad, like reactions for people getting mad, like all that stuff. So that's what you see.
Yeah.
That's what you think that the world is.
Yeah.
And I think that a lot of the world is just mad. Like
Yeah. Like a lot of the news outlets, going back to what you're saying, is like they're in a way trying to make you think that you should be angry.
Yeah.
yeah,
Like
Yeah. They want a reaction out of you.
Yeah.
They want you to watch as long as possible.
yeah.
That's interesting.
Like these big emotional reactions and like, oh, all this hatred, like that's what draws people's attention.
Yeah.
And it builds up something more than it really is in some cases. So again, right, anger is really prevalent. Something that we all struggle with, maybe a little bit differently than others, but something that we can all relate to.
Yeah.
So I mean, what do you guys think? Like, is anger bad? Like, is anger in itself, is it bad to be angry? You know, I mean, what do you think? Like,
I want to know what Kirk says.
Well, I mean, I think there's like a yes no like answer to that. Like I think depending on, you know, obviously what you're angry at, what like obviously, right, but also like how are you like displaying that anger.
Yeah.
And like I think the root just goes back to the root of what are you angry at. And I think that's what we have to look at when we get angry. And that's kind of how we can answer that question. So I think it's very like situational
yeah,
based.
Well, because like obviously, like, I mean, in the Bible it talks about Jesus being angry, right?
Mhm.
But like, I think some people use that as an excuse to say like, oh, Jesus was angry, I can be angry. But like, I get mad at the dumbest stuff. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
And I feel like sometimes it's an excuse, like, oh, Jesus got angry. Nah, man, like 90%, 99% of the stuff that I get mad at is just stupid.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And like when you put it in the grand scheme of things, like normally in a day or a few days, I forgot about it. And the times that I don't forget about it, it's still about something that like isn't right for me to be mad at.
Yeah. What term did you put it on? What term did you say for your 99%? It's what type of anger? Like
Unjustified.
unjustified.
Yeah.
Yeah. And I said that because most of the things that I get mad at, I have done before.
Mm-hmm.
Right? Like, I don't know what it is. Like, an example would be like if you did something mean to me, or if you like yelled at me, or you did something to me, I have done that to you before. So like, why do I have a right to get mad at that?
Yeah, it's like the Jaywalk was talking about, like the hypocritical anger.
Yeah.
Right? It's like when we go back to what makes me angry too, it's like situations at work. Like I just get mad because someone doesn't do their job. Like I don't know how many times I've looked at something at work and be like, oh, I could do that, but I'm not going to. And it's like that situation of like, we need
Yeah.
to step back and say, hey, is this justified? Like,
Well, and I want to. Do you think mad and anger are the same?
Mad and anger.
Yeah, because I was thinking like, mad is an emotion, right? I want to like define anger.
Yeah. Yeah. So
Because-
what is anger?
Yeah, and I don't really know. Like, I mean, I know what I feel like when I'm angry, but I don't
Yeah.
know the words to use to describe what it is.
Yeah.
I
think
mean,
that's
is
a good
anger
point.
an emotion? Is anger?
I think it can be two things. Obviously, like I think anger can be an emotion, like it's a reaction to something, the way you feel about something. And I don't think it's inherently bad to be angry sometimes. But I think we get into trouble when that anger leads to something else, whether it be some kind of a reaction, or harboring anger and holding on to anger to where it then, enables us from doing good or, living in the manner we should,
Yeah.
right? So like anger is first off an emotion and a reaction to something, but then also anger can come to life through our actions, right? Anger can lead to,
a lot of destruction, damage.
like friction
Yes.
between
Yeah.
people
Yeah.
or hatred between people
Yeah,
or
hatred.
physical actions between you and another
And you
person.
know what's crazy about that is like getting older. Like I have seen some of my friends' relationships be torn with other friends of mine. Like one friend of mine, another friend of mine that are also friends. They don't talk anymore over things that like, man, when I look at it, I'm like, why are you guys letting a entire relationship be ruined at this? And I'm not saying that I would like. I don't know what they feel, but do you know what I'm saying? It's like
What do you think causes that? Like, what do you think about a disagreement or
just pride, man.
Yeah,
Yeah.
that's what I was about to say. I think it's
Yep,
pride.
selfishness. Yeah.
Yeah,
Because
the
we all think that we're
unwillingness,
always
yeah.
right. Like, did I find?
Neither side wants to admit they're wrong. They're waiting
Yeah.
for the other side.
Yeah.
That's why you're stuck in this stalemate
Yep.
of it's not my
And I
fault.
think that's why when we were going through marriage counseling, me and Caroline, and I'm sure you guys did it with Josh too, right?
Mhm.
Yeah.
Did he ever tell you guys like 95% of the arguments you're going to get in are going to be about petty things,
Yeah.
dumb things?
Dishes.
That's pride,
laundry.
right?
Yeah.
It's all I'm right, you're wrong. We're going to fight about it until you admit that I'm right, and she's in the same boat as I am.
Mm-hmm.
Like, and that's just pride, man. And I struggle with that bad. Yeah.
So anger, right? Like it happens, right? And it's
Part of life.
it's part of life.
Yeah.
So like, what kind of things? I mean, if we know we get angry about various things, like what kind of things do you think are things justified to be angry about? And like you said, like some of these petty things that obviously aren't justified, to where they may lead to division between friends and family, or they may lead to, rash decisions and poor actions where maybe it's not justified. So like what things do you think we should get mad about? Like, is it justified?
I want you to answer that too, because like the first thing I think about is in the Bible what Jesus got mad at, right?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
And like you mentioned earlier, like what are the main things that Jesus got mad at in the Bible?
Yeah, I mean, I only had the two
Like what are
examples.
your two examples? Like what was the like the
Obvious-
Pharisees, right?
Yeah, it was their like the Pharisees' mindset, but then also like sin in the temple.
Yeah.
Um,
I cannot take this serious. Ruger, lay down. It's okay. Lay down. Lay down. All right.
I already forgot the original question
Okay.
that Jay Walk asked.
The question was,
Well, let's just restart.
when should we get angry? Right? It's like at what point in life are there certain things that justify being angry? And Jeremy's talking about like in the Bible, like there are examples of Jesus getting angry, and we know Jesus didn't sin, so that anger in those situations was justified. The first one that comes to my mind would be in the temple, right?
Yeah,
where you've got
that's like the main one.
I think that's what everybody.
And so
like,
what
thinks
was
too.
his? Do you know that passage? What passage?
Yeah, it's
that
John.
is?
It's John chapter 2.
Right.
So it's
In
like
Matthew 21.
Jesus returns to the temple.
And what
right,
were they? What were
and-
they doing in the temple? Like, why were they?
Yeah, I think they were basically like using the temple as a place, as like a marketplace
As a benefit.
for for like selling things and collecting money
Self-profit.
for self gain, as opposed to like a place of worship. And
And they were religious people, right? Like they're in the temple.
Yeah.
The Pharisees are religious people.
yeah, the religious leaders, right, who you would expect to be a good example to like the common people.
So his reaction, he flipped the tables, right?
Yeah, drives them all out, right, and ends what's going on.
Okay. So I guess is obviously he did no wrong.
Yeah.
So like, what is it about that that's not wrong?
So I think the key is like he's angry with sin, right? Because
So you don't think he was angry at those people?
I think
He was. I think he was angry at their actions, and I think that's like going back to sin too. We have to know that it's like an action of the flesh.
Yeah.
Right.
yeah,
And I think that's what Jesus saw. Is like he just saw sinners, right?
yeah,
And he knew that action was wrong, and I think
Yeah.
that's where he like approached that situation and said, "All right, what's going on here? Like, isn't something that should, I don't know, like make me angry, like in a way to where I like want to harm these people, but I want what's right for them.
Yeah.
Like,
Yeah.
you know, like
Yeah.
his
It's almost
anger
like
wasn't like towards that individual; it was like towards the action
Towards the
that,
sin that they
Yeah.
were doing.
yeah.
Right.
It's like being angry at the sin, not at the person.
yeah,
And like I feel like it's all grounded in compassion and love for the people.
Jesus is.
Like Jesus' love for the people. He's
Yeah.
angry at the sin that they're committing, and he wants to right that and rectify that, and not allow them to continue living in sin because of the love and compassion he has for them.
And I think that our whole view of anger is just so twisted. Like when I'm mad and you think about like the way that Jesus got mad, like I can strive to like get mad like he did or angry but I will never be able to do that. Like my first reaction if I'm mad at somebody for doing something to me is let me get back at them.
Let me get revenge.
Now
Yeah.
like I feel like I don't do revenge as much as like I could, I guess. I don't know how to say that, but like the first initial thought is I want to get back at them.
How am I going to
And
be
that's
even?
wrong.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Like that's the part where that is sinful
Yeah.
for me to do that. That's the
Yeah.
part where Jesus never thought of revenge. And I think that's cool too, is so many times in the Bible, like things happen to him, right? I mean, the dude got killed on a cross. Like he got
Yeah.
crucified, right? He was never yelling at the people doing that. Like he wasn't revengeful, man.
Well,
Like,
he prayed to God and said, "Forgive them. They do not know what they're doing.
Right.
Like
No
they do not know they're
retaliation.
doing wrong."
and so I feel like, I mean, my first thing when I think about me being angry is I need to think about like what I'm getting mad at, if it's right for me to even get mad at, and two, what are my thoughts at it? Like, am I mad at the person for doing it, or am I just mad at the outcome of it? Like, am I just mad at the sin?
Yeah.
And that's so hard to do.
Yeah. Like, are you mad at them because what they've done to you? Like, that's where it becomes selfish,
Right,
Or,
right.
like, are you mad at them because they're doing something that, like, dishonors God? Or,
Yeah.
like, does something, what's the word I'm looking for, just wrong against
Yeah.
God, sin, right?
And so
I think that's kind of the tough.
Yeah.
I guess the next
It's tough to separate the two.
Yeah, yeah.
Because it's so easy to say I'm mad at this person because they did this, and that's not right. Right.
Yeah.
When really we should be mad at the action, at the sin,
Yeah.
not at the person.
yeah.
And our desire should be able to help our brother or sister in Christ.
And that's the main
and
thing,
to
right?
rectify like what they might be struggling with, not to punish them or to get revenge with them.
That's
but
the
that's
main
what's
thing.
so hard. Because like you're talking about, like I want to get even, like I want to get them back. And for me, the hard thing is like, boom, it's like light a fire. Like I'm ticked, and it's instant, like, And we talked about this earlier, like Proverbs, there's dozens of verses in Proverbs talking about like the concept of being slow to anger,
Yeah.
right? And not allowing anger and frustration to lead to like rash decisions and
Yeah.
actions that could have far worse consequences than we realize. Like there's
Looking at
There's
so many
multiple-
verses,
looking at Jesus though, kind of with the lines that you were just going on, is basically in all the situations that he got anger, he's also teaching a lesson.
Mhm.
Like right after he drove the people out of the temple, he starts doing like things that the temple was designed to do. Like he said, this is to be a place like a house of prayer, right? And also a place where people can come to be healed, because right after he pushes them all
Yeah.
out, he starts healing people.
Yeah.
And then the same thing where we looked at Mark earlier, where like he's healing on the Sabbath, like he's teaching them like it's better to do good than
Yeah.
to do nothing.
Yeah.
Yeah. Right.
Right. And so all they're trying to do is accuse them, and Jesus got mad at them in that situation, but then taught them a lesson like immediately after, again, going back to the action, like, and teaching them a lesson on that and not being mad at the person.
Yeah, that's the one where they're trying to like catch him in a trap, right? To
Yeah,
where
yeah.
he's
They're basically
he's,
like watching him.
yeah, like how are you going to heal somebody? You can't work on the Sabbath
Yeah,
day,
yeah.
and just like I
Healing
mean,
is a work.
is it
Yeah.
better to not do anything than to heal this man?
Yeah.
Yeah.
So what would you say, like, the few times where our anger is not sinful, like the few times where we are justified in our anger, right? How do you go about, like, what should our reaction be? Should we just forget it? Should we talk to the whoever made us mad? What should we do? I'm asking because I don't know what to do. Like,
Yeah.
the majority of the time, like if somebody does something to me, or if I'm mad at somebody, if I try to do something about it right away, I'm gonna mess up. I'm gonna say something I wish I wouldn't have said. I'm gonna just do something wrong.
Mm-hmm.
But at the same time, I feel like sometimes you owe it to that person. You love that person, and you care about that person enough that like you don't want them to harbor any anger. You don't want to you want to help them out.
Mm-hmm.
So how do you do that?
I think it's hard. It's like, James, we talked about this before. Like, if someone really like hurts me or makes me mad, like, I think a lot of our anger discussion is about between people and people, right? And
Yeah,
that's one piece of anger, right?
Yeah.
We can
And I
also
think that's the one that we deal with the most.
I think so too,
Yeah.
right? So like focusing on that, like
Yeah.
if someone wrongs me deeply, I think my initial reaction, if it's someone who maybe I don't care about like really strongly on a personal level,
Yeah.
like in my inner circle of like close friends and family, like I'm prone to say, forget that person. I don't care about them. I'm done with you,
Same,
and just
same.
tt them out.
Which is such a
And-
bad
and,
way
like
to do
someone on social media though was an example of that. Like someone comments to you after a game,
Mm-hmm.
like, "Bro, you suck. You're the worst." Right? Like instead of getting angry at that person, I think you should forget that person.
Yeah, I agree.
But where like if I'm angry at you,
if you have a relationship,
yeah, if we have a relationship, like
Yeah.
if we're brothers in Christ, and we need to
Like
talk
if
it
you
out.
if you truly care about somebody,
Yeah.
I think you set aside the fact that I'm really bothered by this, but
Yeah.
I know speaking with them, talking with them out of compassion, not out of revenge.
Mm-hmm.
yeah,
Right, with the goal, just like Jesus, the goal in the temple was to teach and to help the believers,
Yeah,
right?
right.
Not to punish
Yeah.
or to get revenge with the people who were doing
Who are
wrong,
there.
right? It's to help restore said person's relationship with Christ, because we all sin, right? And it's like you guys were talking about hypocrisy earlier. Like, how can I sit here and judge somebody and hold someone accountable for sins when I do the same thing? You know, and it's like,
you made a good point about like most of the stuff we're talking about here is interpersonal, right?
yeah,
Like for me, when I'm thinking, because dude, I remember that podcast I did this morning with Life Coach BFF.
Yeah.
She asked me about growing up, like what gave me the desire to like practice and what gave me the desire to like go do stuff on my own. And I told her, I was like, I hated losing. I hated it. It made me mad. And like that spurt, because I told her like winning isn't everything, but winning is fun, dude. Like when you're losing, it sucks for me. So I told her like I used to hate losing, and like that's anger, right? I'm not mad at anybody. I'm just mad at the fact that I lost. And like to a point, like if you let that rule over your life, yeah, it's bad. But like I think sometimes, and I want to know, can that be good? Like can anger like spur you on to like
yeah.
do something good? And is that right or wrong?
Yeah, what if it's like anger that like, enables you and just like fuels you to do something
And
that's
is
really
that
good?
even anger? Like, I don't even know if that would be described
Yeah.
as anger.
I don't know if that's so much anger
Or just like frustration. And that's another thing. Like, is anger
Yeah.
and frustration the same thing?
I think that's just more so being passionate about what you're doing,
Yeah.
and like not wanting to lose.
Yeah, that's
Yes,
like
losing makes you angry, but it's not like I'm playing because I'm angry. I'm
And I mean,
playing
that's all
because
three
I
of
care
us,
about
though.
winning.
Like, we're all competitive. We all
Yeah.
Nobody likes to lose here.
Yeah.
But to get back to the point, like I think the main thing that we're talking about here is anger between people.
Yeah.
Because that's the main thing that we see, and that's the main thing that, I mean, in order to be a Christian, man,
We can all relate.
you can't harbor anger.
Yeah. Well, and I think so. We all talked about Ephesians 4, and just talking about how like Paul says, "Be angry, but do not sin."
Let me read that verse.
Yeah, read 24, 26, and 27. Talking about so Paul, in his letter to the church in Ephesians, talking about anger in this case.
this is right after what I wrote down is right after he's like telling them to put on a new man. So like as a Christian, this is like what our like approach
good point.
should be.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
And I think that this real quick
No,
goes,
no,
goes
say what you're gonna
back
say. Yeah,
to
go ahead.
like what you were talking about, just like with anger like driving us, like. And again, I mean, is it angry that you are like going outside every single day? Like you're angry because Jacob beat you every day at
Right.
baseball, or Jacob throws harder than you,
Right.
right? Like I don't think.
We know that's not true.
Hey, that was the point. Maybe when we were like 12 and Jaywalk had the
yeah,
the perfect motion.
For the record, I told her this too.
we were
I
about
said
7 or 8. That's when
Jacob
it ended.
and Kurt both. We grew up playing together. They were always better, 100% at pretty much every sport until we got to high school. Seriously, until we were like a junior in high school. That's all I would say. But go say your point. What was your point?
Well, I was just saying, I like being this new man, like being a Christian. Like I don't think anger should be our driving force.
100%.
Like,
yeah.
And I think it can be for a lot of non-Christians. Like they can say, man, the only reason I'm doing this is to prove my dad wrong because he made me mad when I was 12 years old, or because he left our family, right? And I think that's where as Christians we realize, no, that's just sin, right?
Yeah.
That's a broken world, and like we've got to look to Christ and know that, like, man, that's not.
That's a really good point.
But
yeah.
I think that's just one thing is going back to that before we look at Ephesians is that shouldn't be our driver. I think if we're Christians.
Well, and one of the phrases is, "Do not let the sun go down on your anger."
Yeah.
But we'll talk about that.
Yeah,
But
read 26 and 27.
26 and 27 or 25 and 26?
Read through 27.
All right, I'm starting with 25. This is Ephesians 4:25. Therefore, having put away falsehood, let each one of you speak the truth with his neighbor, for we are members one of another. Be angry and do not sin. Do not let the sun go down on your anger, and give no opportunity to the devil. I mean, 26 is so huge, right? Be angry. It says, be angry and do not sin. So, like, that shows you right there that there's a way to be angry and not sin.
Mm-hmm.
And I think it's what you're angry at and the way that, like, your heart condition when you're mad. Like, are you mad to help somebody out or are you mad to get revenge?
Yeah.
Just
Are
a
you
few
mad?
verses up, heart says like the hardness of their heart. Like, if you're in the darkness, if your heart is hardened, then you're gonna be angry and you're gonna let it stick there and you're gonna let it be your driver for everything that you do. But like that's not what he's saying here. He's like, be angry, like know that you can be angry, but know that it shouldn't last.
Yeah.
Well, you made a point before we did this thing, and you said something about like if you're harboring anger and you're mad at like a specific thing, not a person, I'm saying something that's happened in your life, doesn't that mean that you're putting more like emphasis on that than you are like praising, like thanking Jesus for your life?
Mm-hmm.
Like if you're so mad at something that you can't even get it out of your mind and all you can do is think about that one thing and not think about like all the blessings you have and be thankful for like your life, Jesus dying for you, then like that's taking away from your relationship with Christ.
You're robbing yourself of so much happiness.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
And I think that's just putting emphasis on like putting more importance on something that you're mad at than the things that actually matter.
Yeah.
But I like that part.
Yeah. I mean, it's appropriately directed anger towards sin, right? Like sin should make us angry, both in our own lives and people around us. And like, I feel like we should be passionate about confronting sin, not for the sake of calling someone out, not for the sake of putting someone down, not for the sake of getting revenge, right? Not for the sake of, oh, I'm high and mighty. Like what's the parable Jesus talks about how dare you call out like the speck of dust in your brother's eye when you have this plank of wood in your own
Matthew
eye?
5.
Oh,
Matthew
yeah.
7.
Like,
That's the Sermon on the Mount.
Sermon on the Mount, yeah.
There's so much in the Sermon on the Mount, man. We
Yeah,
keep
there
coming back
is.
to that.
Yeah.
But like how like our desire should be to rid sin in the lives of those around us for the hope to restore the relationship they have with Christ. If our brother or sister is struggling with some sin, we should be angry at the sin, passionate about eliminating that from their life because we care about them.
And passion is a good thing, man.
Yeah.
Like
Yeah.
I don't want to get that twisted because like, dude, being fired up for something, being passionate about something, like that is a blessing. I think that is God giving you that passion. That's what I think.
Well, that's why that people always say like who makes you the maddest on earth? Your spouse or your parent, like people who are
People
really
that
close
you're
to
with
you,
all the
right?
time.
Because you care
Yeah.
about them so much.
Yeah.
Like if something happens between you and your best friend, and like say whatever, something bad, like they go behind your back about something, like that really hurts. Like that really bothers you because you care about them so much.
Yeah.
And that's
a
why
good
the people close to us can make us so mad because we care about them so much, right? But those are the people who we should,
And
really
that-
want to help,
And
right?
it makes complete sense, but isn't that so messed up?
Yeah.
When you think about it, it's just so messed up that you're so mad at your mom.
Yeah.
You're so mad at your brother. You're so mad at your wife.
For
Dude,
some
you're-
petty
For some
nonsense.
petty nonsense, and
Yeah.
you love them the most out of anything, like anything.
Taking that back to Jesus, he loved everyone,
Yeah.
Yeah.
like everyone. So like even
Yeah.
the
The
Pharisees,
same. The same.
yeah,
Yeah.
the same, right? Even the Pharisees who, like, obviously were like they knew about him, they knew about the law, they knew everything, but they didn't believe that Jesus was who he said he was. But he still, and that goes back to you said grieving, like in Mark 3 when he healed the man, like he literally was angry at them, and it said he grieved at the hardness of their heart.
Yeah.
It's
Wow,
like he cared about their heart
Yeah.
condition.
Yeah. Read that
Yeah.
again. Read
He
that
wasn't
again.
mad at them. He said he was grieving
Read
about
that-
them.
read
Yeah,
that one
that's
more
what I was
time.
going to
Condition
ask
of
you
their
guys.
heart
What
and
do
how
you
they're
think?
lost.
Read that verse
Yeah.
one more time.
Yeah, so it says he looked around at them with anger and grieved at the hardness of their heart, and said to the man that was there, like, I'm gonna heal you, basically.
Yeah.
But like, I don't know, what do you guys think it means to grieve? Like,
That's a hard thing, bro.
yeah, I know.
Grief.
And to grieve in the right way.
So normally
Like-
when I think about grief, I immediately think about loss. So like something is lost that you really care about, and it like just breaks your heart, right? It's more than just sadness. Like I think of grief as like just brokenness because like something is lost or beyond repair almost.
Yeah.
I don't know.
I think that's that's us on our own. Right?
Yeah, right.
Brokenness beyond repair.
Yeah, and that's why he's grieving, right?
Yeah.
Yeah.
And the anger here, though, like when we get angry at something, I think our anger should turn into grief.
Yeah.
Like,
Again,
It breaks your heart
The foundation
that they are
of it.
broken,
Yeah.
that we are
Yeah,
broken people.
The foundation
Yeah.
should be in compassion, right? Because he's
Right.
compassionate and loves them so much. That's why he's grieving.
Yeah.
That's why he's so angry about the sin.
Yeah.
It's because he knows the condition of their heart, that they're lost.
And we're talking about a Jesus who's perfect.
Yeah.
If anybody has a reason or a right to get mad at me for messing up, it's Jesus.
Yeah.
We are talking about us getting mad at other people who are on the same playing
Doing the
field.
same thing we do.
We
Yeah.
do the same thing, and
I-
we're getting mad
yeah,
at somebody.
Exactly.
Yeah.
Which, and I'm saying that to myself
Yeah.
because I catch myself getting mad, and I'm just like, I'm mad.
Yeah.
I mean, I'm like mad about it. I'm
If anyone's
angry.
got a right to be mad, it's Jesus.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And I think when you approach it like that, like when you approach it as like a humble servant, like I am nothing without Jesus, right? We are all on the same playing field. It shouldn't matter what you do to me, man. Like it does, but in the grand scheme of things, like we're the same. We're
Yeah.
broken. We're broken people. We're gonna let you had a really good point, man. This is in the middle of the week. You told me, man, everybody, like not everybody in our life is gonna let us down, but like
It was Sunday night.
yeah, everybody can let us down.
Yeah.
Like I love my dad more than I love my dad, but like
Yeah.
he will let me down.
He's a person.
He's a
He's a
person.
simple person just like I am.
Same
and Kirk
same with
is.
you,
Yeah.
same with Kirk, same with my wife, everybody. Like we're broken people. Jesus will never let us down.
that's what I was talking about. Like, the only time I get mad at Sydney, my wife, is when I set false expectations.
Yeah.
Like, nobody's perfect.
Right.
Yeah.
Right. Like
Right.
we can't mold people into being like the perfect person that we want, right? We have to know, like you said, like we're all broken. Like and that's something that we have to have that mindset all the time. Like knowing that like, man, God has shed his mercy and grace on us, and that we have to do the same thing.
Well, and I think that's how many, I wish we had a number of how many times it says in the Bible. You mentioned this, slow to anger.
Yeah.
Oh, it's all over Proverbs.
It's all over, right? So what does that mean?
Dozens
What does it mean to be slow to? I mean, there's the obvious thought of like, okay, I know what the words mean, but like when Jesus says it, when the Bible says it, like what does it mean to be slow to anger, and how do we apply that to our life?
Yeah,
I got a good answer to this.
Answer it.
Going to
fire
James.
away. Yeah, go ahead.
Because like what I wrote down is, if you're being slow to anger, that means you're first listening, right?
Oh,
and that's,
I know what verse you're talking
yeah,
about.
yeah. It's James 1:19. I have it written down. James 1:19 through 21, where it says like, be quick to hear, then slow to anger. So like the first part of being slow to anger is listening.
Wow,
right?
this is good. Let me read it for you real quick.
You did 119, James.
Yeah, it says, "Know this, my beloved brothers, let every person be quick to hear, slow to speak, and slow to anger.
Yeah.
For the anger of man does not produce the righteousness of God. The anger of man does not produce the righteousness of God."
Hear, speak, act.
Yeah.
Actions are last.
Yeah.
And I think that's where like hitting on patience really, you
Yeah.
know?
Yep.
And that's what resonates with me so much with my own life, like having patience with myself and with other people.
And just giving people grace, man.
Yeah.
Yes.
Like
yeah.
God He gave us. What's the difference between mercy and grace? Remember, like He didn't give us what we deserved. He
That's
gave us what we
mercy.
needed.
Mercy is withholding punishment that we deserve.
Right.
Grace is giving something
gift.
you don't deserve. But yeah, what you're
Like,
saying.
I'm just like, give some. I don't know what the word is, grace or mercy, but like, man, be nice.
Just showing them
Like,
mercy.
Show
Yeah.
them some mercy, even
Yeah.
whenever
Yeah.
you know that they're wrong. And I'm telling myself this because I struggle with it. Even when you know they're wrong, man, give them some mercy.
Well,
like,
the thing I keep thinking about is from John 3:17. I think it's 3:17. I wrote it down. But talking about Jesus coming to the world, he came to the world not to condemn the world, but to save the world.
yeah,
Right? And if anybody
Not to point fingers.
Yeah, if anybody's got the right to come judge people, smite us down for sin,
Yeah.
it's Jesus.
Yeah.
Right? But he came out of love to save us. It's like, how can I sit here and harbor anger and hatred for my fellow man when I'm just as sinful?
yeah.
You know?
When I think about like, all right, so when KJ gets to be 4 years old, right? You tell him not to do something and he goes and does it. You're mad at him, or you're mad at the fact that he didn't listen, right?
Yeah, fatherly anger.
Yeah, fatherly. Like, we did some stupid stuff growing up, man. Like, we did stuff that like didn't even make sense, and like we got yelled at, and like my mom and dad weren't mad at us for more than a day, more than a couple hours.
Yeah.
My dad would say, "Go sit in the bathroom, 15 minutes, and when I come out, he's fine, man."
Yeah.
Like, I'm like.
That's the thing. Angry at you that day, the next day, he's the first person to like
It's love.
give you a hug
It's
when
love.
you fall down and break your.
And I think
arm.
about that kind of anger, and I think about that kind of love, and I just multiply that by 1,000,000, and you got what Jesus is to us.
Yeah. And then what you
Not
guys,
even 1,000,000. More
what
than
you're
1,000,000.
hitting on about the next day thing is a really important piece back from Ephesians, talking about not letting the sun go down on your anger.
Oh, that's
right?
a good one.
And just how we cannot harbor and hold on to anger and the implications of this. Like, what do you think, Jerem's? Like, why is that so important?
Look
Not
at the
to
next
allow.
verse. The next
What?
verse in Ephesians, like
Yeah.
it's a alleyway for the devil. Right?
That's so
Yeah.
huge.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Like, just to take hold of that anger and not let go of it.
Let's go back to it. So it's
Yeah.
Ephesians 4:27.
Yeah, that's a good point.
So right
man.
after it says, be angry. Paul says, be angry, but do not sin.
Yeah.
He then says in verse 27, and do not let the sun go down on your anger, right?
Yeah.
Don't hold anger for extended periods, and give no opportunity to the devil.
Right.
Yeah.
Right. So I think you guys have ESV too.
I have ESV, yeah.
So NIV actually says something to the effect of not allowing the devil to have a foothold, right? And I'm just thinking like, man, that is such a perfect portrayal of it, because like, how easy is it for anger to take a foothold in our life, like especially between people? And you're talking about like harboring like revenge and like
Just a grudge.
a grudge. That's what I was looking for.
grudge.
Like
Yeah, I struggle with
between
that.
people. Think about between families, like
Yeah.
where
Yeah.
some petty disagreement 10 years ago causes some division amongst family members. And that's just the devil, man.
Well,
That's just the devil using that
That's
anger
messed
as a foothold to rob you of the joy and happiness you have with your family.
Right.
And you know what? And you know what's even worse is what I do is like, it's like you said it earlier in the podcast, but I'll just like act like that doesn't matter and they don't even exist.
Yeah.
And that's almost even worse.
Yeah.
Because then they don't know.
Yeah.
I feel like it would be better, not better, but like if I would just go up to them and be mad at them, like,
Yeah.
because the way I do it is I just
I
let
don't
'em
care.
live my
I'm
life.
done.
Yeah,
Yeah.
and that's so messed up, and that's on my part, like realizing that, man, yeah, maybe they did something I that wasn't right, but maybe I've done something to them that wasn't right.
Well,
You
I
know?
think too, like one divisions amongst family members. I think
Yeah, it's huge.
everyone is seeing
God,
that.
man.
But then
Yeah.
also just like how we've been at Green Meadows our entire lives, right? And just seeing people at church, like for whatever reason, I think disagreements at church, especially over petty things, oftentimes
Spiral.
lead to like much larger disagreements. And like, just think about like a grudge between you and a fellow church member or a leader or someone in the church. That grudge mentally and physically can impact like your relationship and
Yeah.
your ability to serve God with your life, right? Like it's like you're sitting in church and you're just like so consumed with like this anger and just like it's overflowing to where like you can't even think about, you know, the sermon that's going on, or you can't even allow Christ to work through your life because you're so consumed with, in the fellowship hall, you see this person, you just have burning anger with them.
Yeah.
Right.
Yeah.
Over some physical or like
Yeah.
temporal difference. Right.
And I think so let me ask you guys a question, right? If you're mad at somebody, if you're angry with somebody, and it's I guess at what point do you feel the need to like say something to that person? Or at what point do you just try and forgive them and
Like
just forget it?
when's the tipping point?
Right.
Yeah.
Because I think sometimes it needs to be addressed, and that's the part about you caring about the person enough to address it.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Because like if they're doing something that's affecting like if you're doing something to Kirkland that I think you're going to keep doing, and I need to address that so you don't
Yeah.
hurt him.
Mhm.
Like, but if you've done something to me that's not that big of a deal, and I'm just mad at it being petty,
Yeah.
I think sometimes it's all right to just
Should you
forget
just let it go?
Just forgive,
forgive and forget.
It's gone.
Yeah.
And I guess when is the
Where's the tipping point?
Yeah.
Yeah.
that's a hard question. I think it's different for every situation.
Yeah.
Like,
I think when you see that it could harbor that person's like personal relationship with Christ,
yeah,
and I think that just, I mean, the example that I had that popped into my head was like when this is again going back to like fatherly love and fatherly anger,
Mhm.
like when your dad got angry at you, or for most of the time for me, like there was a point where we just sat down, right?
Yeah.
And my dad just said, "Hey, here's what you did and here's why it's wrong,"
Yeah.
right? And so he addressed his anger at me through that conversation.
Yeah, I know what you're saying.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And so I think it just depends. Like when you see that it could be leading that person astray, like
Yeah,
somebody
down
was
a bad
talking
road,
about
yeah.
earlier,
Yeah.
I think like that is when like that conversation needs to
I think that's
happen.
the key. Is it just a one-off, right? Is it just something weird that happened where maybe that person just made a bad decision, or is it something that either in the current moment could compromise their testimony
Mhm.
and their ability to like live as, you know, a follower of Christ, to where lost people can look to them as an example,
Yeah.
or is it possibly leading them down that road?
Yeah.
And I think if we love someone and care someone so much about them, we would be willing to, you know, have that conversation with them.
I
Again,
agree.
out of compassion and love, not out of anger and spite and revenge. You know,
like
it's hard though.
it's so
you
hard,
know?
man. And I think viewing it from the aspect that like, man, I'm a broken human being.
Mhm.
You're a broken human being. You're a broken human being. So like viewing it from the aspect of like, I need to look at myself and fix myself before I try and like get mad at anybody else for somebody else doing something wrong. Because I do
Mhm.
something wrong every day. Maybe
Yeah.
not to somebody, but like,
That's getting the speck out of your log out
Yeah.
of your own eye before
Yeah.
you try to
and
get
I
the
think
speck
when
out
you
of
view it
somebody
like
else's.
that, and you view like, man, we're commanded to love, and you can't be. I mean, you can. That's kind of deep. I guess you can be angry at somebody through love,
Yeah.
and I think that's the right type of anger.
Mhm.
But man, we're called to love people.
Yeah. I mean, that's the truth.
Yeah.
The other one?
I want to know.
I
Oh,
want to
gosh.
know.
Here we go.
I want to know you guys' if you had to say one pet peeve.
Have you ever, guys?
One pet peeve, bro. One pet peeve that just pisses you off, man. What would it be?
Well, that's easy for me. It's work every single day. People not doing what they're supposed to do.
Like just not following directions?
Yeah. No. At work,
Yeah.
basically. But at work, you're there to work.
Yeah.
I mean, that's
Yeah.
hard.
You
hard,
don't like laziness.
That's hard driven in me. Like, I want to go
Yeah.
nonstop.
Hey, that's that Bowles DNA,
Yeah.
man.
Yeah, and that's-
Somebody-
yeah.
We're here to put in work.
If somebody stops at work, I'm just like,
Hey, time out. Can we have
You're
a
at
side
work.
story? Can we have a side story? You guys remember the fort we built at the old house?
yeah.
I remember Kirk showed up one morning like 8 a.m. Like, all
I
right,
got
boys,
some.
it's time to get to work. Let's go build a fort.
I got some stories about Kurt,
Hey, that
man.
thing was up for like years.
This dude.
You remember when Dad burned the woods, not burned the woods down, but they had the trees chopped
them,
down
yeah.
and
Yeah.
they burned all the logs?
Yeah.
He said he found the log with all the nails. He
This-
said there was one log with like 100 nails in it.
Kirk, talk about the Bulls' work ethic. Man, I
a
remember
real
back
thing.
in the day at Farmington, Chet would be push mowing the
gosh.
outfield,
The whole
man.
field.
This dude is just striding it out, bro. Boom, boom, boom. Sweating so we could practice out there in a good outfield. Do you remember that? I also remember times where we'd
Those are the
show up
days.
at home and Kirk would have cleaned up our room.
Yeah. I mean, also, Kirk loves a clean space.
Right.
What's your, if you had to say one pet peeve, just one, like, you have to pick one.
I have to pick one. How about
Yeah.
one about myself and one about other people?
Dude, let me tell you one thing that used to make me so mad that Jacob would do. When Jacob was a junior in high school, no, you were a sophomore in high school, you had your permit. All right?
This is so
and
dumb.
I was sitting in the
This is
back
so dumb.
seat. No, it's not, because it just made me
You were in
so
the passenger seat. You would
mad.
really
No,
yell
I
at
was
me
in the
about
back
this.
seat because Mom had to ride with us.
Okay, go on. Go on.
Jacob thought he was so cool, first driver. He'd sit back there with his hand on the wheel, and it'd always be like this.
Well, what's wrong with your thumb like this?
Always the same way, dude, like this.
He literally sit there and yelling like, "Move your thumb,
Well,
move your
I'm
thumb."
like,
I'm like, why does it
because
matter?
in my mind, like, be
I got a
loose,
better one.
bro.
I
You're
got a
just
better
like
one.
this the whole time.
Look. Since the day like we were 5 years old,
Like this.
we would always eat cereal at night, and anytime we had Fruity Pebbles,
This
is
any type of cereal.
my man Germ's like, "You're eating your cereal," and he would leave all the dry crusted
All
cereal
around
around the
the
rim of the
edge.
bowl. And I'm sitting there like, "You moron! Like, eat the rest of your cereal. Like, you're wasting like
remember
3
that.
spoonfuls." I'm like, God.
What about what other people
Oh.
do? What about other people?
I absolutely despise it when someone like comes to ask you something or like having a conversation and like it's like they prompt the conversation or like they pose the question and then you're trying to respond and it is obvious they're not even paying attention.
Yeah, that's
Or they're not even looking at you and like you're just like talking to the wall.
You know what my number one is?
Oh boy.
When you're like doing something, like if we're wherever and I'm doing something, I'm obviously busy doing something. Somebody from across the room says, "Hey, Jeremy, come here."
Oh.
Like, come here. I go over there and they just say something. And I think to myself, why couldn't you get up and come tell me that?
Yeah.
Oh, that angers me, bro.
yeah.
Or if you're having like a conversation with someone, "Hey, Jeremy."
Yeah, just like, I don't know. man.
I find myself doing that sometimes. Like I want to talk to someone, but like they're obviously having a conversation,
Yeah.
and so I'll try to like not like barge into
Yeah,
it.
not
but At the
interrupt.
same time, I'm like, I have something more meaningful to say.
In a nice way.
Yeah.
Well, for those of you that have listened to this long of this podcast, we appreciate you, man.
right.
We're thankful for you. We're thankful for the support, man. We're thankful for everything, and we want you to know, again, we do not have all the answers at all. Obviously, we don't have all the answers, man.
Yeah.
I think we're just trying to, man, we're trying to learn about anger, dude. We're trying to fix ourselves
Yeah.
first and foremost.
Yeah.
Going forward with whether that's our relationship with our wife, relationship with family,
Yeah. Leave the
Church
comment. Drop the comment.
everything, man. We're just trying to get
I don't
better.
know. It's funny how like this week when I was like reading about certain things or like thinking about like what we're going to talk about, right? Like
Yeah.
obviously each of us kind of takes the week and like finds some passages and like just meditating on like how is anger a part of my life? Like it's crazy how God gives you the thing you need to hear when you need to hear it. And like, I mean, we're just like studying anger, like so many things. Like I'm thinking about like in my life, like, man, like I needed to hear this, or like this is so important right now. And I mean, that's the Holy Spirit, right? Like, like a part of our lives. And that's why, like, I don't know. It's incredible how God's direction is in our lives at all times. And it's just our willingness. That's what's so awesome about this is like just having this discussion. Like maybe it's an extra 30, 45 minutes throughout the week that we would have been studying about anger that we otherwise would have been watching TV or on social media.
Right.
And just the benefit of that and like the conversation about it. And like, hopefully it will help us combat anger better.
Yeah.
And stop being angry with other people for petty reasons.
Yeah. And like us having these conversations too, like we're learning, right? Like what the right thing is to do. We're trying to learn like the right approach to anger. But like one thing that you said just at the right moment, at the right time. Like, so I was just reading through the rest of James because we know James is awesome. It's
That's
a great
book,
book,
man.
But got down towards the end of chapter 4. And this just struck me hard. I just wrote it down. I said, life. Like this should be kind of like I should always have this verse in my head. Obviously one I want to try to remember. It's super short, but it says, whoever knows the right thing to do and fails to do it, for him it is sin.
Mm-hmm.
Right. Who cares if we know the right thing to do? If we're not putting it into practice, we're sinning.
That's huge, bro. Yeah.
Right.
That's good.
And so like, I mean, that's been my like thing that popped out at me this week of like, crap. Like, this is how I'm supposed to be approaching anger. Why in the world am I getting anger all the time?
What verse is that?
James 4:17. But that was just one that came to my mind, too, of like, man, that was something I needed to hear, too. Because we know, like, as Christians, we know every single day what we're supposed to be doing.
Yep.
And if you're not, you're sin.
Yep. Slow to anger. That's the big thing for me, so.
So in closing, just kind of some housekeeping stuff. For this week, we're going to put the full podcast up on Spotify, beginning in unedited, everything 100%. And then YouTube is we're going to try to make succinct, concentrated videos, probably like 5-7 minutes-ish, about each topic we've discussed, right? So if you have 5 minutes, YouTube video, here you go, maybe about one aspect of, why we get angry or how to control anger, whatever. But if you got time, you want to watch the full podcast, Spotify will be your best bet. We'll put links in all the videos, the description, everything will be there, so it'll be as seamless as possible. But other than that,
comment, Larry Cook.
Yeah.
Thank you.
Cook, yeah.
Larry Cook.
Thank you for your thought-provoking comment.
Yeah.
We loved it. We all talked about it together. So if anybody else has anything thought-provoking too that came to your mind, while you were listening, or things that you've came across, with anger in your life.
Yeah, it means a lot here from you guys.
Yeah.
Definitely.
We appreciate you guys. Text us, comment, email us, page us, send a raven. However else way you think
raven?
of communicating.
What?
What do you send whenever you send it?
Send a raven? I think it's a quail, isn't it?
I don't know,
Isn't
man.
it a quail?
Send the owl from Harry Potter.
Nah, we ain't
man,
Harry
y'all
Potter.
reach out.
R12 Nation.
Hey, we appreciate you guys.
R12 Nation.
R12 Nation.
R12 Nation.
Peace.